way the air crews could contend with the pressures of combat day after day and remain the same people. Lucky and others had become indifferent to death. They expected it and were surprised when it didn't come. Mustering the courage to get back into the airplane day after frightful day eroded the will of the air crews. Some withered under the onslaught and refused to continue to do so. Others, like Lucky, found the stamina to remain focused on the job at hand and carried on. But this mission felt different. This time, Lucky was flying with a brand new crew. Replacements. Almost a month earlier, Lucky's original crew completed 25 missions and rotated home. For bomber crews in 1943, 25 was the magic number. Complete that many missions, and you got to board a slow boat back to the United States. That left Lucky to finish his last 4 missions with various crews. The crew for this mission, led by Second Lieutenant Morris Beatty, were strangers. Beatty had been certified for combat by Lucky the month before on a short check ride over the English countryside. His crew had only been with the 100th Bomb Group for a few weeks. They'd flown half a dozen missions, short hops to the French or German coasts, milk runs, essentially. They'd only once flown into the teeth of the Luftwaffe defenses over central Germany. It was early October in 1943, and the mission was a daytime raid on the German industrial town of Bremen. It kicked off a week-long blitz to cripple the Nazi war machine. Lucky was command pilot, leading 3 bombers in the second element of the Low Squadron, or Purple Heart Corner, as it was nicknamed, because the Low Squadron was closest to the massive arsenal of anti-aircraft guns defending the target. Nothing about the mission was comforting. It started with a 6-hour slog through the frigid cold at 25,000 feet. Followed by nerve-destroying anti-aircraft fire and relentless Luftwaffe fighter attacks before finally dropping on the target. Then the race back to England, likely in a damaged bomber, and landing safely, with shattered nerves. That was success. Better odds stood he'd get picked off by fighters, either before he reached the target or after being knocked from the formation by anti-aircraft fire that shredded his engines and smashed up the fuselage. Free of the formation's protection, the Luftwaffe aces would run them down, ending the mission in either a fiery wreck or, if he bailed out safely, in a German prisoner of war camp. 3 outcomes: return home, get shot down and become a prisoner, or death. A 1 in 3 chance of success. No one had to say it, but that made getting into the aircraft the hardest part of any mission. In front of Lucky, the bombardier and navigator were climbing into the nose compartment door. Waiting his turn, he felt his anxiety rising. Everyone flying bombers had their own way of dealing with it. Small rituals like carrying a rabbit's foot, or a brief prayer that quickly became a survival mantra. Lucky had acquired 2 charms. The first was tucked in his flight suit. He patted his chest and felt the bound pages of a Bible tucked into the inside pocket. His fingers lingered over a crease in the cover caused by a chunk of Nazi shrapnel. An anti-aircraft shell exploded near his bomber on a previous mission, peppering the cockpit with shrapnel. A shard punched through the thin metal skin of the fuselage and dug a trench-like groove down the middle of the leather cover. The metal would have killed him had it not been slowed by distance and the skin of the aircraft before stopping against the thick pages of God's Word. Luck? Divine intervention? Did it matter? All Lucky knew was his mother wasn't getting a letter from his commander explaining how shrapnel killed him. After that mission, his Bible became essential equipment, no different from the oxygen mask he used to breathe at 25,000 feet. Next, his hand went to his neck. His fingers searched under the collar of his leather flight jacket and coveralls for a thin piece of silk stocking. He felt the fabric against his warm skin. The stocking was from a girlfriend left behind in South Carolina. They'd met.